Hey, hopefully that wasn't too early of a cut into the intro. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Justin, and you're watching 295 of DangIT Productions. Give me a second. Maybe I could just tilt it up. There we go. There we go. That resolved everything. Hey, just dealing with the mic stand a little bit. Yeah, ever since day one of this thing has not been stable, even when you tighten it up a little bit. But it was kind of what I was expecting for this type of setup. It's on the cheaper side, I would say, though it was quite a bit of money for it still, but it ended up still being kind of loose here and there. But hey, just wanted to say hello to everyone. Give a shout out to Ibrahim, Corey Brown, and Mark for joining me for the stream today. Oh yeah, for some reason I forgot that I did the intro already, but hey, I wanted to just say happy belated Valentine's Day to everyone who's had a good, whether it be an eventful or just a regular plain old did nothing and just stayed in my house type of situation. Not really saying anything from experience or anything like that, but actually no. What I did yesterday actually for it wasn't really for Valentine's Day. It was just because like the movie came out. It was Sonic. Gabe and I actually watched it, and we did the full discussion on like how we felt about the movie afterwards at the office. And so that video will be coming up hopefully soon. I just needed to do some like audio edits here and there. The speaking of which, the setup for the office space is doing pretty well actually. We just ordered in the what was it, the acoustic foams. I don't think you can see it, but oh yeah, the box right here. That's the big old green screen that's going to be going in for that one. I would use the Elgato, which is sitting down here, but the issue is that that thing is not wide enough to fill in for other people in just one. So Elgato's green screen is going to stay with me, and the green screen over here is going to be actually for the office and for other uses when we eventually will move out of that place. But yeah, acoustic foams are going to be installed onto the walls. I say install, but it's just literally going to get planted onto the walls, and then we'll set up the green screen afterwards. So a lot of progress, and I can't wait to do like the before and the after type of thing, where you get to see the entirety of the new office space, like with pretty much everything implemented, minus the dresser. It's a very long process, very long process. Hold on, just want to double check. Okay, we're good. I keep forgetting to check things here and there. How's the health of the stream right now? Because I have this thing set up to like, what was it, one bit rate, 1,000 bit rate instead of 3,000. Just because I checked on the internet speed, it was really slow. So I was like, okay, let's just dial it back down, go back to where it was when we did with Christoph, and literally made this just a moving mosaic. But let's see. Yeah, Abraham was asking about how everyone's Valentine's Day was. What are you gonna do when you reach 300? I think Corey Brown's asking about the podcast episodes. Good question. That is just like about a month away. There are a couple things that are happening within the month that I won't really disclose too much about. It's really one thing specifically, but I'll talk about it like when we hit March. But other than that, I don't know. There's no real monumental like milestone for episode 300 other than just being a number, but it is something to consider, and it's just is a good excuse to just kind of do something fun, I would say. But let's see. Mark was saying that he got all of his wisdom teeth pulled. Good on you. It sucks, but once you get them out, you don't have to worry about them later. 60 pack of foams you can get on Amazon for cheap. Yeah, I got like it was a 50 pack, and that was pretty cheap. And considering the fact that, the only thing you could really mess up on acoustic foam is if it just tears. And thankfully for us, like when we opened it all up, everything was just fine. Actually, you know what? When I opened it like out of its box, I don't know if I did anything to it, but it was already kind of expanding because there was like a little tear in the compressed packaging. That thing was like, think about it, 50 panels, and they're like each like an inch thick, supposedly, like when they're completely enlarged, but they were compressed, all 50 of them compressed to like about this size, and that is pretty much the size of my head. It's crazy. Yeah, even as I saw some off-brand on Amazon. But Ja'Cory Brown asks a question about My Hero ending. There were a bunch of photos of people before they were heroes, and I think I saw Toga, and she was in a hero course or something. Uh, Actually, I'm not sure about that. Gohan says hello. Man of culture, I see, says Mark in response. But I mean, you're not far from the point, Ja'Cory. So just a little quick bit about that ending. By the way, it's a great ending as far as the illustrations that everything, just to show not just our current cast, but also to show like the previous ones before, considering the context of what's happening in this arc. But the thing with Toga, from what I understand, and it will be opened up later on as the series progresses. Even the manga's covered that point for Toga's backstory. But if I recall, Toga wasn't in any kind of hero course whatsoever. I think it was straight off like middle school and then absolutely like expelled, because that's when like things started to go down. At least that's what I remember. So, and also, I'm not sure if we posted. I think we just posted the reaction of it. Also, additionally, I need to apologize to everyone for all the late uploads for like Ruby and what was it? My Hero, as well as the lack of uploads for the DangIT Plays series. Unfortunately, just due to work, I've just been really like falling behind, and I've now just found a little opening where I can just go in there and like edit some videos here and there. So better late than never. And so I'm gonna just continue that on and work on things. But yeah, alrighty. So yeah, I just got the news over here that I might be doing things on my own here. Alrighty. So it'll just be you and I. When I mean you and I mean like everyone else. But I do have some topics I did want to bring up, in addition to it being Valentine's Day and everything like that. And Sonic. Speaking of which, go watch the Sonic movie. It's just a lot of fun, and it's Jim Carrey in it, just being Jim Carrey, and he's great as Dr. Robotnik / Eggman. More about the topic of how the movie went in the discussion video that we'll post later. Let me see. Let me see. Solo episode. Yeah, pretty much. My Hero manga is nutty right now. It's hitting in the middle of another high stakes arc, and I'm all happy for it. I'm just glad that there's a lot of growth in between for not just Deku but all the other characters in the manga. But I won't really talk about the manga in too much expanses. The only thing I'll ever like bring up is if I was really excited about it and I post it on Discord, in which case, in my example would be like, oh, dude was sweating upwards instead of downwards. But I want to point out some things that happened this week, actually following after the podcast of last week, and that it is it's Team 4-Star. All right, let's talk about that a little bit. So Team 4-Star, they dropped a video on Sunday, so it was like literally the day after our podcast, about them dropping DBZ Abridged. Yeah, and I believe the reasoning, they never said like, we're stopping this because of this or that. It was moreover, they would bring up reasons here and there that it wouldn't work. I think generally though, the main takeaway would be that it's due to burnout, and that really, really sucks because I've also gone through that as well, but never to a severity where there's such high expectations in which if you fail or feel that you feel that you're also like letting down a bunch of other people who have been watching other content, and to imagine you're letting them down and making them feel disappointed to the point where it's like, man, this is not good. And it's like, what's the point of this anyway if it's not entertaining? It's like, there's so, because I mean, obviously, like we kind of had our own situation too with the whole reaction bit, and our reason for that was because like at the time, like copyright was really big, and then now it's kind of different where there's some loopholes here and there, and there's some key things you should keep in mind of when you post like other types of content that isn't quite your own, but is in a way transformative. And there's an whole argument about that, and I won't really jump into that type of discourse. But in this case, it was a case of burnout, and it really sucks because, I mean, if you really thought about it, like if they were to push through, they would have gone through the Boo saga, and they could have really ended it there, because I would say that was the definitive end to Dragon Ball Z. And it really is, because following afterward would have been GT or Dragon Ball Bridge, or sorry, Dragon Ball Super. So it just kind of sucks that they had to cut it a little bit short because they weren't able to really output as much as they would like. Obviously, I don't work for them, or do I have any kind of like back door into like what they go through like in their office. They got people. They're hiring people, or at least they're paying people to help them out with content creation, which is super cool. But at the same time, like, you know, they also have to pay them. And, you know, if they come across situations where if DBZ Bridge isn't good enough, then where's the income coming in? Like, obviously they have other things such as like their gaming channel on Twitch or just like on YouTube, but also other works that they work on that allow them to monetize it. But it kind of sucks that they had to make the decision, and it was based off of, you know, trying to like re-innovate yourself each and every time for a series that a lot of people have been coming to, especially the main series too. So I don't really have much else to add to that other than that it's very sad and unfortunate that they have gone to this point where they had to make that decision. But for those who want to stay by, for them, it's all the better for them, because they're kind of what they had said, that they wanted to make something that was a lot more fun. They wanted to continue to have fun as they make videos. And I think at the end of the day, with content creation on YouTube or any other platform, I think that's very important to keep in mind of. I was going to say something else, but of course there's going to be people, and I read like a little bit of the comments below in their video saying that like, oh, well, like it's true that I was the only here watching, you know, DBZ Bridge, and now that it's gone, I probably won't be coming back to this later. And it sucks, but it's totally understandable, because it's kind of the same with us too. So we kind of understand that like there's some people that won't come back to a channel because it doesn't post the same type of content, and that's just normal. It's kind of like a TV show where or at least, yeah, it's TV where you have a bunch of these channels and you get to choose which ones you like the most. And even on the same channel, you won't like this type of content, but you might like this type of content. So it kind of is going full circle. So shout outs to Team 4-Star and everyone involved within that channel, that community, that company. And I wish the best of luck to them, as we also do our best in our endeavors. But, okay. Let's see. Tyrone is jumping in. Hello, Tyrone. He doesn't want to hear any spoilers. Gotcha. And he also says he's stuck in the middle. I'm stuck in the middle of Mirio trying to escape with the little girl. Like, oh, okay, gotcha. But yeah, all right. Let's see. Okay. And Zay seems to be new. Let's see. I honestly don't want Dragon Ball Super to come back, even though I'm a Dragon Ball fan. Mark is saying I do. I'm just kind of hyped on Dragon Ball. I'm just a kind of hyped up a Dragon Ball fan and would enjoy the journey to continue. But that's just his opinion. Actually, you know what? I don't know how I feel. I felt like Dragon Ball Z, like all the way up to the Buu Saga, was good, and then everything else was kind of, it's whatever. GT, it was nice to have, but again, it didn't need to be there for me. And Dragon Ball Super, which was to be kind of like a little bit more of a revitalize, or kind of a revisit to Dragon Ball Z, I like that. But as far as the execution and the animation, it just wasn't. And when I mean by animation, I don't mean just like the movement, but also like kind of the art style as well. I kind of didn't care for it as much. We did the whole reaction to the Tournament of Power, and I thought that was the coolest thing. but it was also kind of some of the most boring things of Dragon Ball, in my opinion, because there were some things, some episodes that I really didn't give much about. And of course, there was that last episode, Dragon Ball Super, which was the pinnacle and probably was the best thing out of that entire series, aside from the movies. Because the movies were so clean. But then, when you see like the episodes for the movies being cataloged, you're just like, this is all right. But Zay says, I want Hunter x Hunter to return. I don't even, like, I tried watching the first couple episodes of Hunter x Hunter and couldn't do it. I really couldn't do it. I watched like 5 episodes, and you had gone and his what was it, his 2 friends, without seeing what's his name, Kilia. Before seeing him, it was just these 2 dudes, and then eventually they would part ways, and then it would just be Gon and Kilia doing their own thing. From my impression of the series, yeah, I wasn't a big fan of. I wasn't a big fan of watching that early arc. It was just I couldn't finish it. Let's see. Yeah, just not good execution, I feel, because they really just with Dragon Ball Super, I feel like they really tried to stretch that out as long as they could, understandably, but at the same time, like, I know it's a shonen and it's supposed to do that, but at the same time, you gotta do something like different, because we have like legendary shonen shows that have done the same shit, like Naruto. Like, Naruto has some really cool like episodes, but there's also some dragged on filler. I'm talking about episode like 124 all the way to 224. There's 100 episodes of filler, and you can go with Gabe's argument saying that, like, well, it's filler, but it's about elaborating on these characters as much as possible because they're also part of the series too. Well, I'm like, okay, I get that, I respect that, but give me more interesting filler. You know what's a cool filler, and I've probably talked about it before. It was a filler called Power. It happened in between like the last Shinobi War and just like after the events of Pain. Yeah, they were still reconstructing the village, and then Naruto and Sakura and their new T7 at the time, they had to do a whole bunch of like investigation. They had to do more missions, and it had a whole thing with Kabuto, just like pre-full turn Orochimaru type of form. And I thought, first and foremost, the animation was really clean for the fight scenes. It was like, whew, oh, that was so clean. But it hit differently. That's how I could say it. It hit differently. But let's say, yeah, Mark's saying it does get better for Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, okay. Jacory Brown says, strongly recommend JoJo Bizarre Adventure. I tried watching that, but like, I don't think I have the time to really watch the entirety of that show, because I know it gets funny and super entertaining too, but I don't know if I can really sit myself down for that. Oh, but he meant like GT had bad execution. Got it. Zay says he skipped all the Naruto filler. And you're okay with that? I get most of the One Piece filler too. You know what? I don't blame you on that one. Because, good God, the main arcs, what was it, like, there was the big one. There was, like, 2 arcs prior to where it is right now, where it was, it was Doflamingo doing his weird stuff, and that arc within itself was about, like, over 100 episodes of filler, and I was like, what the, well, not filler, but 100 episodes worth of just an arc, and I was like, fuck, and why are you watching this again? Because Anai, he's going to still watch it like again and again and again. So, actually, there is an anime that I haven't quite watched yet, but I've seen a lot of clips on YouTube, and I want to bring it up because there was something particularly special about a certain quote that I heard from it, and it was so profound to me that I wanted to talk about it for a little bit, but some context. The anime that I'm talking about is Haikyuu. It's the volleyball anime. So pretty much just shonen, and it has a bajillion seasons and spin-offs. But I think this one is from the latest one, which again, it kind of throws me off as far as the timeline, because as far as I understood, like our boy in that show Hinata he's good, like he's really good, but here it just seems like he's starting all over again, or rather maybe it's like an origin story. I don't really know, but the whole thing I wanted to bring up with the quote was it was from the mother of the assistant what was it, the assistant, yeah, the mother of the assistant manager of the volleyball team. This assistant, I don't know what her motives were, but she was just like, oh, yeah, I can join the as a manager temporarily. The current manager's like, great. And then so things progress, and then eventually she tells her mom, who is she works like with the film industry, and she talks about like the fact that she is now an assistant manager for the volleyball team. And she responds like, oh, well, all right, that's cool. And the quote was to I don't know if it was chopped up or anything, but the quote said that in response to hearing about the news about her daughter being an assistant manager, saying, that's fine and all, but joining passionate people when you aren't going to give it your all is the rudest thing you could do. And it just struck me differently with that one, because I don't know, like, you don't really hear that in shows. Usually, like, if a character joins some type of society or community that is completely opposite or has no relevance towards kind of the main family line ideal or a familiar path, then that parent would be like, no, what the hell are you doing? No, just join the other club or something like that. Get good grades or something like that. But that was different, because it was a much more like approachable like response from a mother who probably, because like she I mean, like, kind of based on her appearance, she seems to have herself like held up together and is very fixated on like certain ways, and is scheduled really busy. Well, she's super busy and all that other stuff, and she seems like she would only have time to give you her honest response to something that's completely out of her element. But in this sense, though she didn't support her daughter, it wasn't a complete like shoot down. It was just, hey, I mean, like, that's fine and all, but do you know anything about volleyball? And daughter was like, well, no, but and just for her to say that, like, to join a bunch of other people who love the sport, and not be willing to give it your best effort, is like literally the rudest thing you could do for them. And it's like, wow, what? That was, huh? But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because that was just so profound to me. But yeah, Ja'Cory Brown, just to jump back into the conversation. Also, by the way, Mark says, skip the bleach fillers. He said, Ja'Cory Brown said, I heard a rumor that One Piece isn't real, and that the real treasure is friendship. I don't mind watching a few episodes, says Zane. A few episodes of filler, but 100 episodes of filler is ridiculous. I agree, because, like, I mean, what are you going to try to get out of it unless the filler is going to be canon? Because essentially, with a filler arc, it's pretty much, it has to begin like this. I'm sitting down in my chair right now, having this podcast conversation like any other day, and then all of a sudden, something busts through my window or my wall, and it's, say, Steven in his new Camaro. I'm probably like, Steven, what the fuck? And Steven's like, come with me, I need you to help me out with something. And we reverse out, and then the whole situation like develops, and it's like 30, 40, 50 episodes of filler. And then eventually throughout that time, like, my entire room gets patched up, everything is back to normal, starting to the new canon or new filler arc as if nothing has changed, and it's never brought up again. So unless you did something crazy, like, oh, main character decided to get in a relationship with this other character during that filler, so now that's canon, so now it needs to carry on. So instead of, in that example, let's say I found myself in a relationship with a girl during that filler, and now next episode or next arc, she's right next to me, and so now it's connected, and so there's now purpose to that arc. I forget the terminology for it, but for a lot of sitcom shows, um, it's kind of like that, where it's just like here everything's normal, something happens, it's resolved at the end of the episode, we rinse and repeat each episode. uh Mark saying like I like filler. It's good. Fairy Tale had some good filler and so is Dragon Ball and My Hero. You know what? I don't. Well, with My Hero, there isn't too much filler that I've seen. And I haven't really watched the entirety of well, I haven't read the entirety of the manga, so I don't know like what's filler on anime, what's not, except for that one filler episode, which obviously you could definitely point out it's filler. It is definitely filler. Until it was retroactively confirmed as canon. Damn it, Horikoshi. By the way, there's some stuff going on with Horikoshi right now, with his naming of characters. We won't jump into that in this podcast, but that's just something to just bring up. But yeah, Zay says, like, that's why I don't really watch Boruto because of the filler. I read the Boruto manga, though. You know what? I did want to kind of watch the Boruto manga, but I just didn't really quite like the designs of the characters. Like, I'm going to be honest, I absolutely abhor Sarada's costume design in that manga, as well as like the first couple bits for her anime appearance. It's only when she goes into like a much more like Sakura like cross Sasuke attire, that's why I was like, okay, that's a lot better. Otherwise, I don't really mind all the other costumes, but just yeah, I feel like it'd be a much more rewarding experience to read the Boruto manga instead, because with Boruto anime, there's so much filler, and you don't really know exactly if it all ties up. And I get the feeling that what they're trying to do with a lot of the filler is to slowly like build it up to developing Boruto's character, considering that he doesn't have the gimmick of, oh, my village hates me. I'm gonna show them. We'll show you. But no, he has to prove himself in the sense that he needs to improve as a person and as a shinobi. So when things are just kind of like modern day, you kind of want to stretch it out as much as you possibly can instead of getting to the very end where it's like, Boruto, I'm gonna send you where your dad was sent. Type of situation. But yeah, Zay just has this little quick input on the manga for My Hero. It's like, yeah, China's tripping a little bit. Mark chimes in saying that he doesn't deserve the hate, but apparently My Hero is banned in China. Well, damn. What can you do, I guess? Oh, but was there something else I wanted to bring up? I felt like there was something else. Let me check my notes. Oh, okay, yeah. So I don't want to like jump off from like manga and anime and whatnot, but I did want to bring this up because it does relate to video games. One of my favorites being Pokemon. It's about Pokemon Home. It got released this past week, and I haven't done a lot with it. I've really just deposited like 2 Pokemon from Shield, and literally just chose my starter. I just chose Squirtle this time because I was like, man, like, you know what? I could have went with Bulbasaur, but I'm like, I need someone different. Let's pick Squirtle. And so I guess I can transfer that Pikachu and the Squirtle as well over to Shield. But what I really want to get out of it, because I play this a lot more than any other Pokemon game right now, it's just Pokemon Go. Like, I wish I could just take those Pokemon and just transfer it over. Especially since I have the opportunity to catch all these starter Pokemon. Like Cyndaquil, Totodile, Chikorita. Actually, Chikorita got evolved in Pokemon Go all the way to Meganium, so I'd just be transferring that over to the bank. I don't know if Sword and Shield have that entry for the Johto Pokemon, but yeah, we'll see. But at least what's cool about it is that I have some kind of type of storage for Pokemon like in the past I'm currently carrying, so I'm not always starting over or feeling like I'm always just moving on to the next thing and not really looking back. I could go for the subscription, but right now I'm just kind of going with the base free like 30 Pokemon like in just one box type of situation. But oh, Zay was asking, isn't the Pokemon DLC coming out this month? I think it comes out in, well, maybe it is coming out, and then there's something else coming out in June, or it could have been stretched out a little bit further out. But yeah, I don't know why I was looking in the back here. Oh yeah, because of Shield. So I mean, I kind of stopped playing Pokemon Shield because I just kind of got tired of like the raid battles. I kept losing a lot, but moreover, it was just kind of game becoming redundant. But I should jump back into this game, especially if I want to do some kind of like Pokemon challenge for Let's Play, or maybe we'll pick that up later. Who knows? I know right now for DangIT Plays, we're just still continuing on with Death Stranding, and we're still carrying on with what was it? Luigi's Mansion 3. That game came out in October, and what was it? Sword and Shield came out in like November. Yeah, it's like I need to really like keep up with those. Like it's just I just don't really give myself enough time to really do this and that. But nah, it's kind of whatever. Yeah, it's like nah, it's June, but excited for the DLC. Yeah, okay. I was thinking like, was it June? It's got to be June, right? Yeah, it's June. It's June. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know, for some reason, like with Sword and Shield coming out, I just got like a really good like excitement for Pokemon in general. So I was playing a lot more of Pokemon Go a little bit more frequently, but never enough to do like get that 7 day like continuous like capture bonus. And because there's always one day where I'm just not playing Pokemon Go. And as blessing as it is, it's recommended that you play daily. So now I got Pokemon Go Home on my phone. So I'm looking forward to seeing what other type of developments, and maybe hopefully they'll be able to willingly open up the gates for other things going on for Pokemon Home, and maybe expand it from that. Otherwise, I'll just keep the base free version of it. And then with Pokemon Shield, I haven't really gotten the DLC for it yet. I forget how much was it. It was $30 instead, or 15? I think it was 15. It was like a lot cheaper. And it's like, this is great. This is the Pokemon Yellow version of both the games. It's great. But Zay's saying like, I barely played Pokemon Sword, and that's understandable. I don't know. It's like I was just super excited about this game too because of just how it was presented. Well, maybe it's because it was the fact that it's the first Pokemon game on the Switch, a full-fledged Pokemon game. So maybe that's why I was super excited about it. That's how I was with Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire. I couldn't say Red or Blue because I didn't even know a damn thing about Pokemon. But was it Diamond and Pearl? Yep, and Pokemon X and Y. I always got like the first like installment on the new console at the time because it was like it's utilizing a lot of the cool things that they got for the system. So it's like, let's see what they got. Ibrahim says like, I need an Eevee, I need a Corsola. Mark was saying like, I played the shot out of like Shield, need to get back into it. But yeah, do I have any? I only have like the evolutions, and it's kind of crazy because when you play through that game, you're really just whatchamacallit, always playing to capture them all. You pretty much catch all the evolutions, or at least you can. In that one play area, it was like Dragon's Lair or wherever. I forget the name of the area, but it's always an evolution that's just in the same area, and you can just do whatever you want with that. Emerald's got good memories though, says Mark. Yep. And the green fossil from Shield. Oh yeah. I never really fell too close with the fossils in the game. It was just like, it's kind of a whatever thing for me. Yeah, I'm actually glad that everyone's kind of like, I think I already knew it in the community, but just the fact that everyone just has like some input for Pokemon because of just their experience with it. I don't know. this new generation has really gotten me excited back into Pokemon again, and I truly love it because I don't know, it's one of those things that just kind of carries on with you, especially with how it is, with the collection aspect of it. But oof. I was sorry. I was just like looking at my phone, and I realized that today is going to be a day where I should probably move all my stuff over to the office and set things up. The problem is that since everyone's gone, it's like you would have to end up setting that stuff all by yourself. And I was like, fuck that, dude. I don't want to do it. We'll see. Oh yeah, I do want to just jump back into the whole anime thing and just kind of respond to Mark's thing about Fairy Tail having good filler. I agree. I felt like there was definitely filler in between, but it was filler that felt significant enough. It wasn't such a very, I mean, there was some, but it wasn't like a very simple, like dumb episode of doing this and that. Well, I mean, if anything, if it was too far in between to really matter to me to voice a negative opinion. But I don't know. I just liked how it just felt natural for me. You know, what was weird with Naruto was the fact that it was mission based. A lot of filler episodes are mission based, so it really was just something that was separate from like the already constructed world of the Naruto series. So I mean, I think it depends on how you approach it. Like, I think with My Hero, I guess you could say a filler episode would be like the first episode of every season, which is a recap. These last two seasons have been specifically about having some type of situation go on. For example, this one was about the interviewer interviewing everyone and then talking personally to Deku about how things unfolded, and it was kind of like a mini story within itself, but it felt natural. Like it, aside from just having to like splurge out information on things that happened in the past, it was still very much enjoyable to watch. Other than versus like some of the Naruto ones, I can't really side with Bleach because I've never really watched it. The episode where they were looking for Frosh was a hilarious filler. Oh yeah, well that's because it's because Fairy Tail's got jokes. I love the jokes in that show too, as well as the morals of everything. Let me check to see if there was any other notes I had in mind. Nope. No, that's pretty much it. I do want to bring back, though, on something I didn't really talk about last week, actually. Because, you know, we had Anai, we had Pierre, and then Gabe came in later on. So we just kind of followed the conversation through that, and unfortunately it went to a hentai talk. But aside from that, I want to talk about something that was announced, not recently now, but was, like, the past 2 weeks. So you know, you guys, that I am playing Pokemon Go. It's not the only like game that I'm playing on my phone. I feel kind of ashamed that I'm playing more mobile games than I am playing a main console game. But I guess I'll just go where the wind goes here. But I am playing Fire Emblem Heroes, and I am playing Dragalia Lost. I kind of fell out of Animal Crossing, as well as Gundam, as well as Mario Kart, as well as Elder Scrolls, as well as Minecraft. Do you see this? Like, this is a folder right now of the games I'm playing, like, right now. Well, at least not all of them are played right now, but those 9, I guess Pokemon Home would be considered kind of one game, but also not. Other than that, it's 8 games here, and I only play like 3 of them. So, Fire Emblem Heroes is kind of the plague as far as money being dropped into a bottomless pit. And I want to bring this up because I love Fire Emblem. I mean, there's no escaping that. And for those who don't like Fire Emblem, I'm really sorry about you hearing about this. But with Fire Emblem, after the release of whatchamacallit, because it was a Fire Emblem Direct for it, but I think it was after Fire Emblem Fates. That was the second 3DS game that was released on the platform, and after that, it was kind of a hiatus as far as like where are we going now? Because after Awakening came out, which was literally the revival of the entire franchise, God bless Fire Emblem Awakening. no one really knew what was going to happen. And so when after Fire Emblem Fates came out, and that was kind of well, no, that was okay. That was also a fun game. Um, there was the announcement of Fire Emblem like Shadows of Valentia for 3DS, but also the mobile game, which was later announced as Fire Emblem Heroes. Thank you guys so much for me to jump into this history lecture, but um, I would say that aside from Fire Emblem Three Houses, which recently released last year, I think it's been over a year now. Shit, dude, it's like, well, no, it's been like, it's going to be like about a year, like when July comes around. And I'm like, shit, dude, like I still haven't played like the second house. Anyway, aside from that, aside from Fire Emblem Three Houses being released, Fire Emblem Heroes for the mobile has been kind of the mainstay for, I would say, a lot of players who love the franchise, because it was kind of like your downgraded Smash Brothers, but not Smash Brothers at all type of Fire Emblem focused game that everyone would be playing. The problem was it was a gacha game, so a lot of opportunities to go get the characters that you want, or if you're a completionist, which I pray for you, you're wailing out so much money. And I would say that I probably spent about before I stopped doing it, I probably spent like about probably around $300 for it, for like all the things I ever would have wanted. And it's literally just orbs to summon more characters, to possibly get other characters that you already have. So it's just like, fuck, dude. So thankfully I stopped, but now they pop up this whole new like subscription service, which was the whole point of this entire topic, called Fay Pass, which is Fire Emblem Heroes Pass. It's a monthly subscription. It's it's kind of crazy, but the reason I bring it up was because people were comparing it with the other gacha game that I also had in my library, Dragalia Lost. In one particular key function that allows you to skip these like levels that require you to just kind of jump in there, expending stamina. With the Fay Pass, it would then be incorporated that you can actually skip the whole sequence of doing these maps and just kind of get the rewards afterwards. Whereas Dragalia Lost already had that feature already built in. So people were ragging on it. People were ragging on Fire Emblem real hard for that, because of the fact that it was a situation where it's them being money grabby. Like, they're so selfish that all they want to do is just get your money. And you're probably right, but because like if you see the sales, I think it was a Twitter post about like just a chart of the income that Nintendo gets like through the mobile games, and Dragalia Lost is up there. Animal Crossing was following suit. Mario Kart was there as well, but literally that was just what was skyscraping like all the way over on the other side with Fire Emblem Heroes after the Fay Pass was announced, and I was like, god damn. First of all, I'm happy for the franchise, but also like, geez, dude, like, I know that Nintendo was trying real hard back in the day to not resort to like mobile games for like quick microtransactions, but at this point, it's like there is a market for it, and people are willing to buy. So it's just, yeah, I just don't know, because I'm not going to go into Fay Pass, as alluring it is to get like different like alternative like skins for characters that you already have and some rewards here and there. I don't think it's quite worth it, honestly. I'm trying to do my best to do free to play for all the mobile games, and I would say that Dragalia Lost is consistently like the best one. Granted, I've never played Grand Blue Fantasy, which is kind of where the origins of that game franchise kind of started off with, from my opinion, in my experience. But yeah, let me just see if I can tighten this up a little bit. Okay, try my best here. It's probably gonna still lower. But here, I'm gonna actually move the chat over here. Let's see. The anti-talk was great, says Mark. But you try Legends? I think that's League of Legends, right? Or like, is it on mobile or something like that? Or is it generally? But because I know it's free to play, but yeah. Yeah, Ibrahim says, did you know it's been over 170 days since the last Nintendo Direct? A regular Nintendo Direct. But yeah, it's weird. Some people are just like really big on like Nintendo Directs, but I guess they kind of want to hear something new for a new game. But Zay says, like, I don't think I've ever played any Fire Emblem games, and that's totally understandable. Like, I really tried it out when I got to play the Fire Emblem Awakening demo. Fell in love with that. Found a means to play like the very first Fire Emblem game through the GBA, and I was like, I gotta buy the full game. And then it just escalated from there, and I stands Fire Emblem somewhat. I don't end up like buying all the games though. Like Warriors, the Fire Emblem Warriors game, yeah, that's not for me, I don't think. Mobile games make so much money because there's tiny transactions over a period of time, so it doesn't seem like a big $60 purchase. But oh yeah, Dokkan, for example, hits number 1 in the App Store like all the time. But yeah, I was Dokkan. So I have like a hell of good units for Dokkan. I think I had the opportunity to at least play the game. I didn't really care for it because, if I'm going to be honest here, be the honest person in the room, Dragon Ball is not my forte, but I can definitely watch it, especially in the movies. The movies are really entertaining. Speaking of which, shout out to the Broly movie. That was absolutely a joy to watch as far as the animation and just the art style. It was just nice. Just really nice. But yeah, oh yeah, speaking of which, I don't know, does anyone have a interest in that Grand Blue like versus game? It's the new fighting game from Arc Systems, coordinating with the Grand Blue Fantasy series. I'm not a fan of the series per se. I have watched it through like the anime that was released from way back when to like its second season that was released this past year in 2019. Dragon Ball Legends, Justin. Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. Hoping that they use the animation for the show's return. Oh yeah, that is a thing that is happening. But yeah, it does look really good as far as Grand Blues versus. But then again, it's Arc Systems. They just have a good way of just having a really nice aesthetic to the game and just really putting in the core details. And it's like, God, these guys are legends. Yeah, I say the same thing with Platinum Games as well. It's just like, there's these companies out there. They're doing great shit. Like, granted though, well actually, independent companies in general. So from like games to animation, I'm looking specifically at whatchamacallit, Trigger, because they do great animation, terrible stories, not terrible stories, but just like ones that just can't follow through, I would say. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say about that little side topic there. So with Fire Emblem, it's just like, it sucks, and thank you guys so much for listening for that, because that's my only time that I really just talk outwardly about Fire Emblem, without getting the Smash Brothers, there's so many Fire Emblem characters glaze, because literally all I'm looking at is the camera screen. What else is going on right now? A lot of sadness. I'm sorry, that's all I can really say. Like, there's just a lot of sadness happening right now. Oh shoot. There's something on the news on Twitter right now about Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm like, shit, I love Buffalo Wild Wings. What's going on? Here, I'm gonna read you guys the what was it? The liner for this. Astro fans call for a boycott after Buffalo Wild Wings fries cheating teams. What? But it's about sports stuff. You know, sports. You know, the things I'm really interested in. Honestly, the only thing I'm really interested in is tennis, and I've actually been seeing a lot more tennis on like feeds, probably because I actually stick around and watch some of the Instagram / like Facebook stuff a lot. And oh yeah, I already talked about what was it? I already talked about the Sonic movie. Again, that's something I recommend everyone watch. I just wish that the Sonic games were just as good and entertaining, because I think I'm okay to just kind of jump into that type of discourse with Sonic, because it may not be my first game that I've ever played, but playing my I guess my experience playing Sonic was with the Nintendo the Game Boy Advance, Sonic Advance, Sonic Advance 2, 3. Whew, those were good. Those were solid games. Played a few of like the DS games, mainly Sonic Rush, and I was like, okay, all right, this is all right. And now we go into like the current generation of Sonic games, which would be generally the boosting, the Sonic engine or the Hedgehog engine, whatever type of game mechanic with the twist. So aside from Sonic Colors, you had Sonic Unleash and you had Sonic Forces, all having the same type of playstyle as and Sonic Generations, having the same type of game mechanic of Sonic boosting, trying to go as fast as you can, like doing side steps, homing attack, and having a somewhat branching but a little bit more linear pathway towards a goal, with the twist. Unleash had the Werehog, Forces had the Avatar, followed with some classic Sonic like 2D platforming. We don't really talk about classic in Forces, but I would say that I feel like the main formula for Sonic nowadays to become a okay 3D Sonic game is to use this kind of this 3D effect or the Sonic dashing boosting mechanics using that engine. And I don't know how I feel about it, because I've actually never owned any of them. I've only played demos, but I don't know. It's just, it doesn't feel as engaging as it used to be when I played like Sonic Adventure 2, and I feel like I kind of like that type of Sonic a little bit more. We have a lot more control over Sonic, but you're not like trying to fucking go fast, and even then, it's not even fast enough. You know that whole like game theory about like Sonic going like fast and Unleashed was only like about 50 miles an hour, like in actual speed versus like what the speedometer tells you at the bottom left. I just feel like, yeah, well, you can't really control a character that is supposed to go fast, right? Like, I don't know. But okay, I don't know where I was going with that. I just was saying like, yeah, I just want the best for Sonic as far as a franchise, especially the video games. But this is something I want to talk about. But let me just go ahead and look at what Mark was saying here. Kill la Kill and Gurren were great. What do you mean? But wasn't Gurren Lagann like? Well, I mean, give me a second. Let me think about that. So Kill la Kill was great. Kill la Kill was great. Gurren Lagann for my like high school like age was perfect. And when I look back on it, it's still great, because the story behind that, it doesn't make the most sense, but like, who cares? Because that's not the moral of the story. And Kill la Kill is kind of the same idea, because like people just get naked all over the place and you're like, what the fuck is this? But like, it was still a lot of fun, and it didn't try to overcomplicate itself. I think specifically I'm looking at what was it? Kisnaiva. It was that show where it had like 8 like protagonists, or at least 8 characters, 1 protagonist, 7 other ones that were just kind of a lot much more supporting. But I mean, I love that one as far as like the visual aesthetics for it. But what I was saying is, I think Gurren Lagann was still it wasn't before Trigger like branched off, because I think Kill la Kill was the first animation by Trigger and not by the other company that they were linked to. The other Trigger anime that I wanted to shoot my shots at was Darling in the Franxx. I love the concept of it. I loved how it got to a point where it was really trying to have the characters try to dissect what was going on about the outside world, but then it got weird. Like really weird. It went to space again, and I was like, this has to stop. And then the other one, the one with the kaijus, Gridman. Gridman with the S at the very end. Like, I love that one. I love the concept of it. It just ended weird. Jose says, I don't like mecha anime. That's understandable. But for me, it's like, I love mecha anime. Like, it's super cool, like, getting the robot. But, like, the robot, like, gets better. And I was like, huh? Awesome. So what I was saying is that a lot of the Trigger anime that I've seen so far is starting to just get to a point at the end of the show where it just gets weird. Oh, DN says hi, Justin. By the way, that's a great simplified name for a user, DN. That's it. But that's what I'm just saying. Like, Trigger just gets these weird endings. I don't know what's going on. It's so, I don't know. I'm not gonna jump into that. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the whole Buffalo Wild Wings situation, but iShadow says, "Yo, hello." But yeah, Gurren was great though, Zay. I would agree with that because there is definitely the mecha aspect of it, but it has very little like impact on like what. It's just a device. That's it. I'm starting to use that a little bit more. So the mechas are just a device to project the feelings of the main characters, and that's kind of the main focus of Gurren Lagann, is that it's always to go beyond yourself, not Plus Ultra or anything like that. Maybe it was before that time. Maybe they still had a similar idea, but it was really just to kind of sheer willpower things because you want it to be set in stone. You don't want to be stuck in your ways doing this and that, says the moral story. You just want to literally pierce the heavens because you can do what you want to do if you set your mind to it. And that's what the whole thing with Gurren Lagann was all about. Loved it. So I have I have no bad things to say about Kill la Kill or Gurren Lagann. They're fantastic. It's just weird because I want Trigger to come up with a really solid anime that people can just get behind and just really support without. I mean, there's always gonna be negativity here and there, but yeah, just like, can we just have a show that doesn't like have something involving space, or rather, at the very least, make sense? Yeah, who the hell do you think you are? Exactly. That's the best thing about that show. It's like, you be telling me to do this and that? Who the hell do you think you are? But did you watch the 92nd Academy Awards? Did not. I unfortunately, I don't give much about the Academy Awards. Do you watch any sports anime as a... I used to watch the hell out of Prince of Tennis. That was my shit. Like, Ryoma just going in there, just like knocking fools out. I'm like, holy shit. Like, I mean, not literally knocking fools out, but remember that episode when he was like, I think he was fighting Kaido actually, and like he's like returning one of the boomerang snakes hits, and then like his racket breaks, and then it did lodge itself, like, but it like literally scratches like the tip of his eyelid, and he had to get that patched up, and he had to continue playing as this thing revs up, and I'm like, oh, this is so epic. And then there was the one where he was fighting that like tall like grayed hair dude, who was given like one of our boys, the Burning Passion dude, just like the work, and we were like, hell no, we ain't gonna deal with that. And tennis anime is getting a video game. I'm sorry, I just totally exploded because Prince of Tennis was part of my growing up phase. It wasn't the nail in the coffin in which I started to play tennis. It was literally Mario Power Tennis for, what was it, the GameCube. Still a cool ass game, but yeah, Prince Tennis, whew, that was good. I know that there was another tennis anime after that. It was Baby Steps, I think that was called. But I was like, it's not my cup of tea. I prefer my Mara Mara Dane. My one-liners here. But I should watch the hell of Haikyuu because it has the score of the guy who does My Hero. I can hear it in the strings when I watch these little clips, and I was like, oh shit, like, that's hype as fuck. Hajime no Ippo. It's a good sports anime, but it's not like. Well, I mean, yeah, it's a bit older, but yeah, but yeah. Zay says, I remember Prince of Tennis when it came out on Tsunami. Oh yeah, that's how I got into it. It was just, dude. I even remember that theme song too. I was like, oh, I love it. Definitely. If there's anything to take away, good soundtrack, good score, it will literally carry on for the rest of your memories. I swear. Um, was there anything else I wanted to bring up? Um, oh yeah. Sorry. It is kind of Valentine's post Valentine's, but still Valentine's Day weekend. So I just saw a tweet from Pokemon about, remember that the way that Pikachu and Piplup looked at each other in Diamond and Pearl region. I was like, oh right, that was interesting because they got bi curious about each other through other means. I was like, oh, we're gonna jump into that route, huh? All right. At the time, that was when Pikachu had like that Baneri following him all around. It's a good thing that she wasn't anywhere near this situation at the time. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not really getting a lot of things happening as far as, aside from annoying Squidward Day, and Buffalo Wild Wings in the Sonic movie. Not really much is happening so far. But oh, that's super cool. Sega just tweeted the audience score, I think on Rotten Tomatoes, sitting at 95% for Sonic the Sonic movie, and I was saying that's awesome because when we watched it, it was just great, just great. Like what else is there to say about that movie? It's just so much fun. DN asked, any plans for your YouTube channel besides reactions and gaming plans? Wow, that is a legitimate question. Thank you so much, DN. That actually is something really nice for you to ask. Let me just quickly shout out to Zay for remembering Keijo. Yo, let's talk about Keijo. Keijo is so underrated. I know it's pretty much ecchi, guys, but hear me out. It's also shonen. And it works so well like that. Because it's literally just girls like hitting each other off like boards with boobs and buds only. And that's the only gimmick. And that's all it needs. And I was like, literally, I could just watch this because it's entertaining because it hits on a lot of like interesting points in the sense that your character is not your run-of-the-mill like innocent girl character. She is just kind of on the countryside, so she has a lot of slang. So that's kind of like illustrated through like how she like talks, but also like the way it's subtitled. So there was that, but it was also like the character's drive to always improve and get better, even though it's totally ignoring the fact of like how kind of raunchy a little bit of the show is, but like she didn't care. But I was like, yo. Oh yeah, but Mark brought up Keijo. Actually, where? Actually, what the hell? Where? Let's see. It was something about sports anime, right? Oh yeah, Keijo's thick. Oh man, that was great. It's just so much fun because the show knows exactly what they're trying to do. Because there's this one episode, Jesus, where it was one of the situations where one of the enemy opponents was like super fast, and it was like, what do we do? And then our secondary like white-haired girl character, she doesn't really have too much of a body, so she's kind of like a speedster type. And she was like, okay, I need to do something. I gotta find a way to grapple her, but like my ass isn't big enough. My tits aren't big enough. That's it. And then it shows the whole thing of it happening. It's like, what the hell? What'd you do? And it showed her, she got her nipple. She literally got her nipples hard just so it could actually hook onto the clothing to flip her over. I was like, yo, this is not what. Okay, that's it. That's all I gotta say because that was That was so funny. I was like, are you shitting me? Is this what you're gonna go with? Okay, but I'm sorry, Dan. Let me answer your question. Any plans for YouTube channel aside from reactions and gaming plans? Okay, so um, we have vlogs. I'm currently working on the December vlog. I've been falling behind on that, and it's kind of hard to do vlogs specifically with gaming and reactions because I want to say, like, from my perspective, editing reactions and gaming videos are actually pretty easy as far as the time consumed for that. Things like skits and vlogs, which I'd be totally down for, um, are less frequent, higher quality, but as a result, they cost a lot more time as far as the planning process, filming, and also like kind of the brainstorming aspect of it. So with vlogs right now, um, I mean, depending on how you want to present it, it could be like super easy too, when it's just like super jump cuts here and there. For me personally, I'm trying to struggle. I'm currently struggling with December's as far as the intro, and I've spent a few hours just trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. Got to that point, and now I have the rest of December to edit, not to mention all the footage to compile together. I have to do the same thing with January, and then we got February to go on off. So, um, we're working with vlogs on that. Skits, I know that Gabe has always been trying to bring that up, and Anaya has been big on that too, as well. I have no problems with the skit. We just have to find the time to plan one out and really put that into our schedule. I know that Anaya has thought about bringing up music. I'm not sure to post it onto his channel, but really use it as background stuff. He has talked about animation. He's talked about animation. And he kind of wants to do something for the channel, and I'm all for it. I'm all there to support. I just personally would not be able to input because the channel still kind of like revolves around me as far as how can I in do some put some input into this, and it's just kind of difficult at this time because with animation I don't know how to animate. Like, I mean, I could try to. I can make like stick figures and shit, but like that's not really great, especially when you see things on YouTube like actual animators or like fan animations of things like Game Grumps animations. And you see that and you're like, "Oh, that's so much fun. Like that's super cool." But it's like it's a lot of work and I don't know if I can actually do that. I just like the design stuff here and there, but I also am not good at that either. So so we're at an impasse here. But there's so many things I'd love to do for the channel. Really, I would, and that also include like things like minute race, bringing that back up again, or doing some much more elaborate minute race, like one of those documentaries you would see where you go into a not hospital, go into like these food places. You actually are able to have interviews with the chefs or the managers, and just really show off like good ass food. Like holy shit, because I love the hell out of that too. But also like I know there's just so little time that I make for myself right now that I can't really commit to that, and it's kind of a transition that we're trying to work on as an entire team to do other things. In the meantime, we're trying to make things a little bit more studio affiliated, where we just do recordings within the premise of an area instead of trying to go out and film stuff. So and the skits have, or the vlogs have been kind of a good thing of utilizing filming outside stuff and using it as video content. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I do really appreciate that question though. It's just that right now, the focus right now will be towards finding a really good setup and consistency with reactions and the gaming stuff. We don't really have much traction for that, but if we continue to work on that craft, maybe we can find our way into a crowd, a niche audience again, and really work with that. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think that's pretty much all I have to say generally. So what time is it? It's 2 something. So wow. Okay, so I'm gonna have to really think about what I want to do after the podcast. Because there's a bunch of things I can edit. I can go into the office, put that green screen and the mounts up. or I can just literally do nothing. Oh man, I haven't really given myself a break, so maybe I should do that. I should also consider that as well. All right, but I will go ahead and end the podcast here. It's been a joy to actually talk to everyone just solo again, to just have the floor to just really just talk about whatever. Oh, especially when it came to like the shonen anime, it's just like it's so much fun to just kind of reminisce on that and just talk about some gaming news here and there. But yeah, all right, I'm gonna end things here. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a blast. I'm going to figure out the rest of my day here. But yeah, but you guys have been watching 295 DangIT Podcast. My name is Justin, and thanks for watching. # bye, everyone.